Now, 2 days of national mourning have been declared in Burkina Faso after at least 35 civilians were shot dead during an attack. And according to the government, 80 armed men have also been killed. A warning some viewers may find the following images disturbing. The attack was launched on an army base in Arbinda and a nearby town. Violence has increased in Burkina Faso after the military offensive began an offensive against armed groups in November. There's been no claim of responsibility so far for this latest attack.
We
have to think about solidarity and national cohesion. People, women for the most part, were getting water and got murdered in cold blood by the terrorists while they were retreating. We must show compassion with the population. That is why all flags will fly at half-mast for 2 days and all Christmas celebrations are cancelled.
Well, Burkina Faso was once a pocket of calm in the Sahel region, but security has deteriorated over the past 5 years. The removal of longtime President Blaise Compaoré in October 2014 created a security vacuum which has been exploited by several armed groups. As well as homegrown fighters, groups from Mali affiliated with Al-Qaeda and ISIL have crossed the border and added to the unrest. The UN says more than 700 people have been killed since 2015 and almost 500,000 have been displaced. Let's speak to our regional correspondent, Ahmed Idris, who's in Abuja, Nigeria, following this story for us. Ahmed, so one of the deadliest assaults in Burkina Faso in the past 5 years. What more first are you hearing about the circumstances of this latest attack?
Well, basically, Foley, what the official sources are telling us is that the attackers were trying to overrun a military base, and in the process they were repelled. As they were withdrawing, then they targeted civilians. Many of the people who were killed, many of the civilians, 35 who were killed, were indeed members of or private citizens who have been early on displaced by the violence in Burkina Faso, especially in northern Burkina Faso, and who were taking shelter in that part of the country when this attack happened. Some of them went to fetch water, and some of them were gathering firewood and stuff like that for their daily lives. And when these fighters were retreating, according to government sources, they targeted them, killing them instantly. The government is confirming that more than 80 of these attackers have been killed. But what probably we will see in the coming weeks, this was anticipated by many people, by the way, that these periods when armies in the region are stepping up operations, we will see more of such attacks. It's been rare for many countries in the Sahel who've been targeted by Boko Haram or ISIL-affiliated organizations to see civilians being targeted, except in the case of Nigeria, Cameroon, and Chad. Most of these attacks were actually on military bases, as we've seen in recent times, but increasingly civilians are becoming targets of these attackers.
Yeah, and it's not just Burkina Faso, is it? 2019 has been a deadly year for, as you say, the militaries of countries in the Sahel region. We saw the attack in Niger a few weeks ago. Why is the security situation worsening in this part of Africa, in the Sahel, despite the presence of thousands of French and regional troops?
Well, basically, that's what many West Africans won't understand. For example, the Boko Haram violence in Nigeria has been there for a decade now, and Nigerians won't understand how an army that has been able to deal with ECOMOG and deal with the civil wars in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, and up to now cannot deal with this problem. And there are also people who feel that the French have been there in Mali, Burkina Faso, and other parts of the Sahel. 4,500 French troops are there, and yet these attacks continue. Apart from the French forces, there are thousands of other international forces stationed in Mali, for example, under MINUSMA, to take care of these problems. But again, you have to appreciate the development over the last 10 years, not only in the Sahel region, but also in North Africa, as well as the Middle East. A lot of arms are coming in from these areas after the fall of ISIL in the Middle East, after the fall of Gaddafi in Libya. These Sahel regions are vast, and they have territories that their militaries cannot man properly because some areas, some borders stretch thousands of kilometers, by the way, and these armies may not have enough resources to deal with that. So the attackers or the gunmen or fighters that are moving basically are moving in with ease to set up bases and also launch attacks.
Thank you for that, Ahmed Idris in Abuja, Nigeria for us.